Good evening. I'm Jeff Shellhorn, Budget Director for the Chicago Park District, and I'd like to welcome you to the Public Budget Forum for the 2021 operating budget. We appreciate you taking the time to be here virtually to voice your concerns and be a part of the budget process. First, I'd like to thank Board President LaBelle for joining us this evening. And now we'll start off the evening with opening remarks from our General Superintendent and CEO, Mike Kelly. And afterward, I'll conduct a brief presentation, and then we'll turn the forum over to you. Superintendent?
So can you hear me, Jeff? I just want to make sure. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us for this year's virtual public budget hearing. As in prior years, this hearing is a discussion on our budget and that we'll have tonight in the open dialogue throughout the next several weeks. As many of you know, it's a critical step in helping the Chicago Park District develop a plan that addresses important community needs and allocates Park District resources. But it's a little bit different, right? I'm standing in my office right now. Other folks are in their offices or in their kitchens as we fight through COVID-19 and the pandemic and all of the remote virtual discussions we've had. So this, I think, is the 18th budget I've been a part of. And I'm very proud that we've always had public budget hearings over those 18 years. And oftentimes it would simply be the budget director, myself, and our board chair. So to echo Jeff, I want to thank President LaBelle for being with us tonight as well. So as I mentioned, we're in some dire circumstances, and we're under circumstances that the Park District hasn't experienced in our 86 years of existence. As I mentioned, we face a global pandemic which has shifted the ground beneath us and forced all of us to adjust our lives for the good of fellow citizens, our neighbors, and our families. This year we faced a monumental challenge in doing what we do best at the Park District, which is providing safe, engaging, and affordable programming for our children, for our families, and all Chicagoans. Unfortunately, it's going to be a challenge we continue to battle today and will be for the foreseeable future. Our partners in public health have been important leaders in helping navigate this difficult moment in time. The Park District has followed guidance from health and science experts, and we've moved forward in a smart, informed, and a cautious manner. As a park agency, we've created policies and procedures that guide our efforts to serve Chicagoans and also serve as a model for other organizations in Chicago, and I can attest, and across the country. Last year, we had to deal with a financial predicament that included our aging infrastructure needs, increases in the utility costs, as well as the ever-increasing pension obligations. Complicating all of that, this year we must, of course, deal with the overall impact of the pandemic on our city and our state finances, and ultimately the Chicago Park District. Now, some of you may recall in 2020, we had put forth a $487 million budget that took close consideration of the needs of park patrons, as well as the Park District's current and future obligations, and looked with some foresight at the field ahead. The COVID-19 pandemic upended that budget. As we approach the end of this fiscal year, we face a projected $32 million shortfall because of the pandemic. Again, it's a $32 million shortfall just for 2020, and it is a sobering number. There's a lot for us to do. We got fewer resources than the prior years to do it, but I'm proud of our team, and I'm confident our team, our staff, and Chicago at large, we're going to get through it. 09, 010, those were tough years for us too. But we got to adjust our ways of operating. We got to remain focused on the task at hand. The Park District will continue to strive to remain the best deal in town. We're going to keep our park program fees as low as possible while maintaining substantial discount programs for those most in need. Again, as we all figured out through COVID, parks are a fundamental part of Chicago. They're an essential component of our neighborhoods, for our mental and physical health of all Chicagoans, for our seniors, for those with disabilities, of course, for our children, for our families, and everyone else. The substantial financial hurdle we face this year will not be overcome with a stroke of a pen. Not one cut or one increase is going to address the shortfalls. So as we move forward in the budget process, I ask for your sincere input, your patience, and your support as we develop a sensible solution to the problems we all face. I want to thank you for your time tonight, and I look forward to the dialogue ahead And now I will turn it back over to Jeff Shellhorn, our Budget Director, and he's going to go through a brief presentation. So I'll turn it back over to you, Jeff.
Okay, Cantrice, if you want to get the slides up.
All right, slides are up.
Thank you. You can go to the next slide. I first want to start with a reminder of what our FY20 operating budget plan was. You can go to the next slide, Cantrice. There we go. It was a $487.6 million spending plan. Obviously, this has changed greatly due to the pandemic, and we'll cover that in more detail on the next slide. But this gives you a general overview. On the left, on the revenue side, property tax remains our largest revenue source at 58%, followed by revenue generated by our managed assets at 19% and PPRT at 9%. On the expenditure side, personnel-related expenses make up the largest share of our budget at 47%, which included in FY20 an additional $6.2 million that went into the pension fund. Converted into full-time equivalent positions, the district has approximately 3,170 FTEs, and this has held relatively steady in recent years, even though we've added more land, facilities, and programs. Next slide, please. So while the last slide was a look at what the plan was at the start of 2020, here's a look at where we estimate to end up. As the superintendent mentioned in his speech, is a $32 million shortfall. On the revenue side on the left, you can see the impacts of COVID-19. Park fees were budgeted to come in at approximately 7% of the annual budget, but we now project those to come in at approximately 1% due to having no spring session and a drastically reduced summer and fall session, and no large events to generate permit revenue. Revenue from our managed assets is down from 19% of the budget to approximately 11% due to the lack of large concerts and sporting events at Soldier Field, a shortened boating season at our harbors, and closures all along the lakefront that have cut parking revenue and revenue generated by our lakefront concessions. Revenue from PPRT is also expected to come in under our original projections due to the impacts to the overall economy. On the right side is the expense side, and we have been able to cut back. We cut our seasonal hiring with drastically reduced operations and reduced programming during the summer. We implemented a hiring freeze in March, and we've instituted reductions throughout the district, from our landscape to our managed assets. While these expense reductions have helped, we're still facing this over $30 million shortfall. That can be seen in the gap on the revenue pie chart here. We're continuing to monitor all our expenditures and continue to look for ways to reduce this shortfall. Next slide. Before we move to 2021, I wanted to take a brief moment to show some of the ways the Park District quickly and creatively adapted to the virus. In May, the city conducted a survey that asked what people wanted to reopen, and parks were at the top of the list. As a result, the district worked to meet the demand and safely bring a sense of normalcy and a relief to the city during these trying times despite scaled-back resources. The district partnered with the Illinois Soybean Association to make our own hand sanitizer to help mitigate the spread. Our community recreation staff developed virtual programming and worked to be able to safely offer summer camp at a limited capacity. Our culture, arts, and nature staff worked to offer 49 socially distanced movies in the parks, including 8 drive-in movies. Many staff members worked as social distance ambassadors and on the lakefront trail to keep patrons moving. And our IT staff worked quickly to allow staff to work from home productively. In some ways, the parks were as busy as ever this summer, and our staff worked hard to keep a safe and clean environment for our guests. Next slide. As the superintendent mentioned, we face many budgetary challenges for the coming year. The impact of COVID-19 will continue to be felt long into 2021, excuse me. It is very likely that large events will not be able to be held until later in the year, which impacts our revenue. and our programming will likely still need to operate at a reduced capacity for the winter and spring sessions and possibly longer. This will continue to produce lower revenue for the district. Even before COVID-19, we are facing many challenges that have only been exacerbated by the pandemic and the revenue limitations that it has caused. Pension obligation made up over 7% of the budget in 2020, and that number will grow in 2021. The district needs to continue to contribute more to stabilize the pension fund. This year, we began a multi-year ramp-up of payments in which the district will contribute 2.5 times the amount it is required to under state statute in FY20, and in 2021, that amount will continue to grow. Eventually, it will require nearly 4 times the amount required under state statute. The district is committed to fully funding the pension obligation. Some of our other challenges include healthcare trends that continue to grow nationally and across all industries. We can only hope to mitigate the growth rather than reverse it. Aging park buildings and infrastructure that is costly to maintain, and water and sewer rates that will increase again in 2020, to name just a few of the challenges. Next slide. We show this slide every year as a reminder that the Park District is one of 7 taxing jurisdictions on your property tax bill. While it's our largest revenue source, it's actually one of the smallest on your bill. The district's portion of the property tax has steadily decreased over time. Over 10 years ago, it was over 7.1%. And now the district's portion of the property tax is 4.73% of the total, with the average homeowner paying roughly $215 toward parks. Even before the virus hit this past year, we faced limitations, and while our resources remain constrained, the demands on these resources continue to grow. Next slide, please. This slide is just an update on where we are in the budget process and as we work to tackle many of the challenges for 2021. The budget process is a culmination of input from community members, staff, management, and our board. We started back in August working internally with departments on their budget requests, and we continue that internal planning today. On October 31st, the Budget Office will file a recommended budget with the Park District Board. This will be released to the public in November, and we aim for adoption at the December board meeting. The budget must take into account requests along with all the available resources and align those with the Park District's core values. Next slide, please. We're listening all year, not just during the budget season and not just at this forum. We have various forums available for you to share your ideas. Those who are not able to speak tonight are encouraged to share their budget ideas through our website, chicagoparkdistrict.com, under the Office of Budget and Management, where you'll find a simple form to complete that comes directly to the Budget Office. We started a new separate page off the budget page this year, Budget Office page this year, that can be seen, the link can be seen at the top of this slide. Now we'd like to hear from you. Cantrice, can you introduce the first 3 speakers?
Hold on, Jeff. Can I
Sure.
just say one more thing?
Sure.
Obviously, thank you for that presentation. I want to recognize Commissioner Jose Munoz has joined us. And last, I just wanted, a lot of folks I saw that signed up to speak are folks that we've been working with for decades. And, you know, I always prided myself and my team that when you came to a budget hearing, there was a dialogue, and it was very transparent, it was very open and real, and then there was always a warm handoff to a senior staffer who was in the room to help address in real time whatever issues you raised. Because of the nature of this virtual meeting, what we'll do is we'll follow up tomorrow with either a phone call or an email. It'll be easier to do it that way. Certainly, if you don't hear from us tomorrow, or if you don't hear from us tomorrow, then folks know how to get a hold of me at my office on Thursday. But I want to assure everyone you will have a conversation with a senior staff member tomorrow. So with that, yeah, Cantrice, let's go live to the budget, the audience.
Okay, we ask that you please limit your comments to 2 minutes. We also ask that all speakers please lower your electronic devices or step away from your laptops or smart devices while you are speaking so that we do not experience feedback or frequency interference. Our first three speakers are Louise McCurry, Matt Cardani, and Jeffrey Ayersman. I'll get our first speaker on the line. It's Darling.
Hello,
Hello, is this Louise?
this is Louise.
Hi, Louise. You are live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this forum again this year. It's been a tough year. But the good news is there's more uses of in Jackson Park by community residents, by children, by families than I have ever seen before, which has meant that we've had to take large numbers of volunteers in the community and get them involved and pitch in for the parks. And so we've had about 500 volunteers this summer pitching in, cleaning up the parks. So we're coming into fall, and once again, we have this wonderful park resource literally filled with people every day. And the things that I would like to suggest are, number one, our tennis courts have been full. So it seems to me it'd be a great time to start some indoor and outdoor tennis classes, outdoor for fall, indoor for winter, and then outdoor for spring. Second, pickleball is a huge hit. So we'd love to see pickleball classes start for our youth this winter. And finally, my favorite is just cross-country skiing. Some years ago, we did cross-country skiing downtown, but it would be really nice if we had a Jackson Park cross-country skiing class this winter. Lots of people cross-country ski on our nature paths every single year. It would be great to offer classes so people could actually learn how to do it right. And that's it. Again, thank you for the hard work of making this budget happen. Thank you for the time and energy, and we're looking forward to an awesome fall and winter. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. And I mean, you know where to find us. We talk to you quite frequently for those who don't know, but I'll make sure Alonzo follows up on those ideas. Of course, all your ideas are always, I mean, spot on. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get our next speaker on the line.
Hello, Catrice.
Hello, is this Matt?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Matt. You are live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Matt Cardoni, and I'm a digital marketer, consultant, and educator. I teach at Kellogg Northwestern, and I volunteer in the environmental space. I've been in Chicago 15 years, and 4 years ago, I attended a climate change conference at Loyola, where I asked the Minister of Climate and the Environment of Norway what they felt was the most important way to get people to care about the environment. He said, get them to spend more time in nature. So I worked at the ICA, the Institute of Cultural Affairs, to develop the first Uptown Garden Walk, which was an event that was intended to get people into nature more, which we thought would also be a great way to introduce people to the gardens and trees of Uptown. We included some climate change education around how to plant native plants to reduce and combat climate change. I've since helped plan and execute the Uptown Garden Walk for the past 4 years. It was canceled this year due to COVID, though I'm not quite sure that was the right decision to make, to be honest. And I'm saying all this because I truly believe that climate change is the #1 threat to our planet, and therefore it underscores all the more that the Park District possesses a tremendous asset, one that is crucial to elevating the public's awareness and interest in activating around climate change. I wanted to propose a couple ideas that would help with this budget crunch, and that would include things like more outdoor events. I feel like we need them more than ever before, and I noticed that you already are doing some of them, but I was going to suggest a more entrepreneurial approach, maybe some more expensive ticket on. Okay, basically some more, higher ticket price items. I have a lot of artist friends in the community that we would be happy to put on show for people and generate revenue for the park. I think there's a lot of artists out of work. I know there are actually, and I totally understand that this is a difficult time for a lot of people, but I think we also need to remember that the climate is really crisis right now. So I just want to suggest that, and I appreciate you guys taking the time and inviting the public to offer our opinions.
Hey, Matt, thank you. I'm going to have our Director of Sustainability, Brendan Daly, call you. I appreciate your climate change comments. In fact, we're working with our national organization, National Recreation and Park Association, on a climate change summit in the next month. And I think Brendan may even be a speaker on that venue. And then with regard to your outdoor events, yeah, I mean, you may or may not know this. We're arguably the largest provider of outdoor entertainment in the state of Illinois. So we're always looking for revenue generating events. We lost $100 million this year in outdoor, namely in outdoor entertainment, and that was due to COVID. So
Wow.
we're going to be stuck on how we do our events for at least, well, certainly through 2020. But yeah, we rely heavily on outdoor revenue, outdoor entertainment for revenue. So any ideas, please share those with Brendan. Like I said, Brendan Daly will call you tomorrow to follow up, if that's okay.
That's wonderful. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I will get our next speaker on the line.
So can I ask while we're waiting for our next speaker, could folks hear our speeches in the beginning? Jeff, do you know?
Hello, is this Jeffrey?
This is, yes.
Jeffrey, can you stand by one moment, please?
Yes, no problem.
So Jeff, could people hear us when we were?
I believe so.
Yes, we could. Yeah, we could hear
good,
you.
good, perfect. Okay, good. All right, go ahead, Jeffrey.
Okay,
Well,
Jeffrey.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Harrison. I'm with the Chicago Women's Park and Gardens Advisory Council. I'll save any specific requests, but I think the one thing I'm seeing, and especially with the two people that were preceding me, and the questionnaire that you sent out, which was pretty helpful as far as what would you change, what would you cut. I think what we're seeing is a lot of people in the park just gathering, and I think you're on a parallel path here. One is the Park District getting back to generating their revenue, which is important on the events and things like that. But I think it's also finding ways to continue to serve the public without that revenue. And I think what we're seeing is, one is you're going to have to put in a lot of effort on the volunteer aspect, the partnership aspects within the community. So if it's just the center director hosting gathering meetings or walking clubs, or if it's partnering with the PAC and with the community on finding fitness instructors to do free instruction, I think you're going to still have to have that parallel path to keep serving. Obviously, with the violence and other issues, we have finding those things to do both outdoors to deal with COVID, but also to give activities to the community. I think is going to be important. And I think that more also with that is
30 seconds remaining.
I think is you might have to marshal additional volunteer support. So I don't know if that's something within the volunteer process and the approval process of finding temporarily those volunteers to help do events, help do programs, help the center directors, help clean. I think you're going to have to look at cleaning up that process or communicating that so you can get more people to help out. So that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Jeffrey. We'll release you from the call.
Thank you for your comments. Volunteers are always the lifeblood of any park system in the country, especially when you have such dramatic staffing cuts like we had this year. I mean, we didn't hire over 4,000 seasonal workers that we normally would. So, Beth, make sure maybe connect Jeffrey with Willa and the foundation from a volunteer aspect, just for some follow-up dialogue. We can go on to the next speaker.
Okay, we'll get our next speaker on the line. Our next three speakers are Hallie Quezada, Valerie Stoll, and Alyssa, Starks.
Hello. Hello.
I'm sorry, hello, is this Hallie?
Hi. Yes, this is she.
Hi, Hallie. You are live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now.
Thank you. One moment I was watching my kids play in the sand, and the next I was holding the limp body of my former student's little sister. She would survive, but another 13-year-old girl would not. I begged my husband to swim out and do apneas for the other girl, but there was nothing that floated on the beach, and he refused to widow me in front of my kids. I will never stop wondering if he could have found her in time if there had been something that floated on the beach that day. He is a trained rescue diver. The year before, another 13-year-old girl drowned as her friends watched her struggle with nothing that floats to throw her, and the next year a father would drown trying to rescue his 13-year-old daughter. In fact, every year, kids are dying on our beaches, public parks during daylight summer hours to known hazards, and nothing is changing to prevent the next death. This year, we lost a 15-year-old boy, one of 17 who have drowned in Chicago waters in 2020 alone. And obviously, no one here wants kids to die on our parks. But still, there hasn't been a single message of the dangers of Lake Michigan on any park district social media. No public information campaigns, no infrastructure like life rings on our beaches, following not just isolated tragic incidents, but a pattern. Drowning is the second leading cause of accidental death in young adolescents, and we just have to overcome bureaucratic and budgetary barriers and protect our kids. So today I'm asking for three things. The first is that we budget to install rescue stations along the entirety of our lakefront. This is an issue of equity, and I'm ready and willing to be a partner and do the groundwork to make this happen. The second is a plan for widespread water safety information campaign. Again, I am happy to be a partner in that. And the third is to schedule a follow-up meeting with me, which it sounds like you're already doing, because 2 minutes just isn't enough. And I promise I am as informed as I am impassioned, and I want to work together. So thank you for this meeting, and thank you for hearing me again. And I look forward to making our beaches safer for our kids.
Thank you, Hallie. We definitely hear you. I know you've been working, I think, with both Alonzo and Pat. Obviously, this year was really unique. So keep working with them. I wish I could tell you that budget constraints are insurmountable, but they're not. They're not. But I know you're passionate about this issue. We certainly don't want to lose any children. We pride ourselves on our lakefront system, but let's continue to work together to get better. So thank you. And
I haven't heard from Alonzo or Pat, so if they could connect with me, that would be great.
yeah, absolutely. One of them will call you tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, we will move on to Alyssa Starks. And following Alyssa, we have Linda Young, David Kostolansky, and Melissa Santiago.
Cantrice, you had Valerie in there. Is she not on?
Yes, I just spoke with Valerie or texted or conversed via text, and we're going to be moving on to Alyssa.
Okay, thank you.
Alyssa? Elisa?
Yes.
Hi, you are live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now.
Thanks. This is Elisa Starks. I'm the president of Don Nash Community Center's Park Advisory Council. And I just have two comments as it relates to the budget. One is kind of general Chicago Park District related. And given the situation that we're in with the pandemic, we've watched through all of this the need for greater technology. And I would hope that the Park District takes advantage of the learnings as it relates to this. You know, there may be ongoing needs even past the pandemic where we can offer virtual classes. But now, here's the opportunity to take advantage of technology in all its forms. I'm at a park. Don Nash does not have a lot of, well, very little park or grassy area. And so a lot of things have to be done virtually if we're going to really do it at all. But with technology, I think we have an opportunity to offer so many more programming through all of the parks. And right now, our technology on site is not that great. And I would imagine that maybe at other parks the same is true. So I suggest just broadening the capacity of, you know, the technology, the use of technology, even as it relates to the website development for the park district. And then my other comment is
25 seconds remaining.
To,
Keep going.
Don Nash, and that is because we don't have a very wide grassy area, it might be helpful this year to look at repaving the parking lot. It has a lot of holes in it, and maybe we could do some things in the parking lot where we could charge because it is fenced in, and that would be a way of generating revenue. That's my comment.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll follow up with you on the repaving. I couldn't agree more with you on the technology. We, you know, I remember a time when we had no technology, and now we have not great technology. We certainly aspire to not only have great technology in our buildings, but to take advantage of our locations and see how we can sort of essentially light up neighborhoods that don't have great technology. And we've been working with the city on that. Obviously we're trying to find outside sources to help fund that. But yeah, I couldn't agree more on the technology. We'll follow up on the parking lot. I'm all in on charging for parking lot. I don't know if your neighbors are though, but we should definitely explore it.
Hey, if you have a festival or have anything and you have to have an admission, we could handle it at Don Nash.
All right. I'm gonna take you up on that then. Thank you very much.
All right.
Take care.
All right, we are getting our next speaker on the line.
Hello?
Hello, is this Linda?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Linda. You are live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Young. I am a second-generation Chicagoan, and my third and fourth generation are trying to make a way here in Chicago. I have two topics that I want to make some suggestions on this evening, and I appreciate you giving me the time to do that. One is regarding violence prevention. I believe that every city of Chicago sector should be trying to address this. So my ideas are, could you work with the PAC and maybe other community organizations to start allocating resources to violence prevention strategies? Could you also work with the other sectors of the city, such as the public health department, community residents, to increase the green space? One idea I have for that is supporting the local community organizations who are trying to convert these city-owned vacant lots to green spaces. We know that that green space has a huge impact on our mental health, our ability to reduce stress, and other things. My next comments are regarding the South Shore Nature Sanctuary. I am a resident currently of South Shore, and this nature sanctuary has come under attack, if you will, in terms of transforming those two golf courses between Jackson Park and South Shore. I don't want to get into what's truth or not at this point. I just want to emphasize that South Shore Cultural Center Nature Sanctuary, the park is an anchor for our South Shore community, and that nature sanctuary is truly just that.
14 seconds remaining.
It gets us connected to nature, out and about for our city dwellers. So possibly Could we invest to make it a destination sanctuary for school children and others throughout the state of Illinois? Could we partner with Open Lands to create youth summer jobs there? Could we make other partnerships with riding clubs? So we have a lot of amenities there at
Please
South
make your
Shore,
closing remarks.
but I just want us to promote those more and make sure that the sanctuary stays around.
Yeah,
Thank you
Linda,
for the time tonight.
thank you, Linda. You touched on a number of issues. We've got a lot going on in a lot of these areas on violence prevention. We do work with public health. So I couldn't agree more with you. So I think I've got to have someone reach out to you tomorrow, maybe Beth or Pat. Somebody will reach out tomorrow to you to follow up on what we're doing. And then, with regard to the nature sanctuary, it's been debated back and forth. And
Yeah.
all I can say is that if, and I stress if, that golf course ever happens, I can assure you South Shore will have a better nature sanctuary than it does today. It will be far more accessible to the public than it is today. And we have a long-term vision for developing all that lakefront property just south, all that property south of Rainbow Beach. We have over 100 acres that long-term is going to be nature sanctuary as well. So we'll continue this discussion. This is not something that, God knows we've been debating it forever, but I hear you loud and clear. And
Okay.
I'm definitely motivated to leave things better than when we found them, right? So I hear you. We will work with you on that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get our next speaker on the line. Hello, is this David? David, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I sure can. You are live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now.
Hey, David, turn the Sox game off. I know you got the Sox game in the background.
Oh, you got it in. You got me. Superintendent Kelly, President Lavelle, and the senior staff attending tonight, I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak. This is Dave Kostolansky from Lakeshore Park Advisory Council. It's important to start by thanking you so much for the desperately needed replacement of our playground. We're anxious for the COVID-19 problems to be behind us so that the playground can be opened, and look forward to the installation of the previously approved adult exercise equipment before the end of the fall. Lakeshore Park is located in the most densely populated area of the city, but has limited space for the community side and needs. The community has changed over the last decade. It is now very diverse in ages, ethnicities, and the programs and related needs. In 2012, we were invited into the district headquarters to learn of a plan to repurpose the parks from Michigan Avenue to the Drive. Without an overall plan for Lakeshore, we continue to work with you to enhance the park offerings. We have reached a point where repurposing of some space may be required. The field house, built in 1965, cannot support the needs of the community. Over 11,000 students live and study in this area alone. The structure needs replaced. Failing replacement, we strongly urge you to budget for the following. Park District has a commitment to making facilities accessible and usable by all patrons and visitors, including meeting the needs of people with disabilities. Currently, there are no accessible entrances to the field house. Exterior sidewalk and steps.
20 seconds remaining.
Concrete work. Meeting room window replacements are desperately needed. The track needs repair. It's used by area runners, track teams, practicing, running clubs, parents with strollers, and seniors walking for exercise. The southeast corner of the field house needs improved lighting. Tables were removed because they were attracting a late night crowd. Better lighting might allow the community to reclaim this feature.
Please make your closing remarks.
Cameras for the playground entrances and west end of the track. The PAC code states that we should play a role representing the community in programming. We're requesting that the PAC be included in the next round of post-COVID programming. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David. And both, Pat and Alonzo will both follow up because you had a request on either side. They'll follow up with you on that. We'll continue to work with you. So thank you, and thank you for your continued support.
Go Cubs.
Okay, we'll get our next speaker on the line.
Hello,
Hello, is this Melissa?
this is.
Hi, Melissa. You are live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Santiago. I'm a new resident to McKinley Park area, and for the last couple of years, I noticed that the swimming program at McWayne Park, which is in the Bridgeport neighborhood, and I'm sorry for the toddler in the background, but I've noticed that their swimming program usually is booked and always fills to capacity for the swimming lesson program. Earlier, I heard Ms. Quesada speaking of water safety, and I was wondering if maybe in the future funds can be allocated to enclose the swimming pool at the McKinley Park facility. In the summers, the swimming pool has lines and lines of families just wanting to get in and get, into the pool and freshen up. And it's only available in the summer. So maybe allowing an enclosure would make the program available year round and accessible to many families in the communities. I believe it's many of the parks Southwest don't have an indoor swimming pool, so this would be a really, really nice incentive to our communities. That is it. That's my idea for tonight, and I appreciate the platform. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, they're not cheap. We've tried to retrofit them, and they don't work really well, but it's not an unusual request citywide for open air pools to be enclosed to be year round. So we will follow up with you and walk you through the paces. I obviously I appreciate your time, and I appreciate that you have your hands full right now with the toddlers as a father of four. So one thing we can all agree on is we got to get those kids in the pool and they got to learn how to swim. The sooner the better, right? So thank you, and we will follow up with you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, our last four speakers are Van Bistro, Leslie Recht, May Toy, and Sue Lee. You also have written testimony from Gail Spring and Shamika Irby, and also Linda Young. We'll get that next speaker on the line, Mr. Bistro.
Hello.
Hello, is this Van?
It is.
Hi, you are live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now.
Thanks very much for taking my input. I'm Van Bistro, Vice President of Nichols Park Advisory Council at Hyde Park. Earlier, people are alluding to the importance of volunteers given the tough financial situation, and we really concur with that. We face a bit of a dilemma at this point because we have had significant numbers of volunteers in Nichols Park, some dozens of people who showed up to plant some about 15 trees along 53rd Street with a donation from Open Lands. We have about $2,000 of planting materials that go into the formal gardens and hundreds of person hours of labor there. We have many more volunteers who work in our wildflower meadow. So we're doing quite a bit in our neighborhood to support the beauty of Nichols Park with no cost to the park district. However, our efforts are being eroded by the fact that for the last 7 years or so, our sprinkler system has been not working at the north end of the park. So all those donated materials and labor to the north end of the park are always put in jeopardy. A lot of the plantings end up dying, and we do our best to provide water by hand carrying it or extending hundreds of feet of hose from one of the few working spigots.
24 seconds remaining.
What we've been, yeah,
Keep going.
What we're asking for is really the support for our volunteers. To have water supply there is really all we're asking for, and we're hoping that that can be done, even though it's been put off for years, and I know this is a tough fiscal time. But without that, our volunteers are likely to dry up. It's very hard to keep people's interest up if they have no support to do the volunteer work that they're aiming to do. So thank you very much for any efforts you can put in on our behalf.
Yeah, we'll follow up with you on that. I can't remember what the price tag on that request was, but we'll follow up with you and see if we can make it work. So, but thank you for your time, and thank you for you and everyone who volunteers to help Nichols. I appreciate it very much.
If we could have an actual appointment with a supervisor who would, because right now a lot of that happens to be somebody shows up and disappears and we never get a chance to talk to them. So who would be contacting and who could we talk to?
It's either gonna be the COO, Pat LeVar, or the deputy COO, Beth Tomlins. Okay. And when I was COO years ago, I know I worked hard out there to get the fountain up and running, and there was a lot of water issues there. I thought we had solved all those, so maybe it broke. But,
we wish.
But I remember when I remember when the fountain didn't work and we got that thing up and running. So we'll follow up with you. It'll be one of my senior staff.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we'll get our next speaker on the line.
Hello.
Hello, is this Leslie?
It is.
Hi, you are live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now.
Thank you. My name is Leslie Recht. I'm the president of the Grant Park Advisory Council. Grant Park is the town square for Chicago. It's used by everybody, neighbors, people in the city. The number one issue we want to talk about tonight is the historic infrastructure in Grant Park. It's crumbling, it's dangerous. We know that it's expensive to repair something like that. We have several suggestions. One is to look at sources of income, say from the renegotiation of the Lollapalooza agreement or others using Grant Park. We'd really like to see the users of Grant Park pay a fair share of the work necessary to do repairs. We've got projects such as repairing the dog-friendly area. We want to look at any revisions that might be needed to the 2002 framework plan, which we've talked to you about. We know that this is a difficult budget time, and we know that working with the Park District is the best way to get this done. Also, obviously, working with the city. So what we're suggesting is that we work together, look for funding, hopefully some from the Park District, but also from donors, because these issues need to be done soon. The crumbling infrastructure is dangerous, moving stairs, other things, and we really believe this needs priority.
20 seconds remaining.
And we also would like to meet with the city on this issue because we know they're directly involved. And so I'm just asking that you give this a priority. We've already had some conversations with Pat LeVar, but we need, and obviously Willa and the people at the foundation, but we need to put this on the agenda very soon. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today and to weigh in on behalf of Grant Park.
Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, we'll continue to work with you. I mean, there's no shortage of need in Grant Park. We know it, but I need help. Many years ago, we replaced that Van Buren Street Bridge on our dime, and it wasn't right. Transportation dollars at the federal level, the state level, someone should have come through for us on that, and they didn't. And it was an incredible hit to our capital budget, but we had to do it because it was crumbling. So I hear you. And yeah, we got to work together to solve the problems in Grant Park. So I'm certainly committed to doing that. So thank you, and we'll continue our discussions.
Great. Thank you very much.
Ms. Recht, also, she sent an attachment as well. You should have it in your records. If not, I'll make sure that I get it to you directly following the meeting.
Thanks, Cantrice. I saw it and read it already, but thank you.
Awesome. We'll get our next speaker on the line. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Cantrice. It's May.
Hi, May. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You're live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now.
Thank you. Hello, my name is May Toy. I'm president of the Skinner Park Advisory Council. I want to take this opportunity to thank Pat LeVar, Brianna Heath, and the Community Gardens team for working with us to open up the edible community gardens, not just in Skinner Park, but all across Chicago. I volunteer with CCGA. How supportive and helpful it is. I also want to thank the Park District for distributing the annual flowers, as well as Friends of Cubon Park for the tomato plants to all the parks and community gardens across the city. I also want to mention Bob Arlo, because he's always helpful to us, when we need repairs. I want to thank Mike Brown, Landscape. SPAC has been holding volunteer days every Saturday and Sunday since April to help keep the park clean. And I want to thank Friends of the Park and Parks Foundation for giving us supplies to help do that. I want to mention our field house, which has been kind of semi on hold for the last 4 years. And I want to make sure that we don't give up the money that's been allocated for it. I believe there's currently $12 to $15 million set aside for that between TIF and the Neighborhood Opportunity Bonus Funds. But we need to figure out a solution for that, and a creative one, because we can't take away our current space. And I don't want to give up the Police Academy site, which I'm still fighting for, but the city is taking a long time in moving it, and we need to move forward with the field house.
17 seconds remaining.
Thanks. So the playground, we need to do that. We also need a greenhouse in community roots, expanding and making it ADA accessible. We work with Brianne to come up with these solutions, and I've put that into a written document. The funding for that is eligible to the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund, Local Impact.
Please make your closing remarks.
Thanks. And then the programs, we need to move it outdoors so that people have activities in the park. And permits, you guys just need to start enforcing those. Okay, there's so many illegal groups at the park, and if you did, that would be a revenue source for you. And that's my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, May. Thank you for your testimony now, and certainly the 17 years I've known you, 18 years on budget projects. So thank you, and we'll obviously stay in touch. We have one more speaker, I think, Cantrice?
We do, and May also submitted written commentary as well, and you all have that in your attachments. Our last speaker is Sue Lee, and we will get her on the line.
Hello.
Hello, Sue.
Yeah.
You are live with the Chicago Park District Budget Forum. You may begin your comments now. Sue, can you step away just a little bit?
Someone is speaking already, though.
No, just step away a little bit from your laptop, because there's a 30-second delay.
Oh.
Whenever you're ready, Sue.
Okay. Hello?
Yes.
When
ready.
should I speak?
Right now.
You're speaking?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hi. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sue Lee. I'm a member of West Elston Community. I'm calling on behalf of Pasteur Park on 58th and Costner. Thank you all for letting me speak and your hard work on the parks. Okay, I want to give a few suggestions to help cut costs. MWRD.org/EQ_compost offers free compost. They have a facility at 6001 West Pershing. So if you need compost for the parks, maybe you can pick it up. It's something you'd have to do, bring your own truck and bring your own bagging in order to get the compost. The next one is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Spaces to Grow. They transform schoolyards, but I don't know if they would help parks in creating community gardens in the parks. And then in regards to grants, I'm sure you're aware the Department of National Resources offers park grants, and I hope that you are looking out for more park grants. In regards to trees, I'm not sure if the Arbor Foundation would provide additional trees for the parks. And then, let's see. In regards to needs for the parks, it would be nice to have more trash and recycle bins with large signages of what to recycle and when to call if the trash is full. For Pasteur Park, it would be nice to have a community garden for vegetables or butterflies or native prairie plants, or maybe composting classes to encourage sustainability. And then for the park, it would be nice to get some new wood chips for the playground. I know this is expensive, but maybe it would be nice to have a dog park there because there's lots of dogs in the community. In regards to volunteers, maybe, to help clean the park, there could be signage for people to sign up to help clean up the park. And then let me see. I think that's about
All right, Sue, we
it.
have to wrap it up. That's it? All right.
Oh, almost. I don't know if you ever thought about getting goats to mow the weeds and grass to cut down costs. I don't know if that's less expensive.
We've done sheep. We've done sheep to eat the grass, and we've done dogs to shag the seagulls. So we can look at goats. Why not? You had me until dog park. But yes, compost, we use MWRD, Spaces to Grow. I think we work with them now. The Department of Natural Resources owes us tens of millions of dollars now. So we're, if you can help us beat on their door, they owe us money now. In trees, yes, I work closely with the Morton Arboretum, and Jerry Donnelly is their president. So you and I, and thank you for your support of Pasteur Park, because we need every park needs people like you to be ambassadors and to really have a sense of ownership in place. So thank you very much for this call.
Oh, sure. Could I ask one quick question? You know about the budget, about the PPRT. Is it lower because the percentage is lower, or you are forecasting for 2021 that the PPRT is going to be lower?
I think it's both. I think it's we're forecasting that it's going to be lower, but Jeff, I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, we're forecasting it to be lower just because it's tied to the economy and anticipating the economy to be down next year.
Ah, okay. Well, thank you all for letting me speak, and hopefully my ideas might be helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sue.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mike, I want to add a comment. Let me just say, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners of the Chicago Park District, there are several things that always strike me about these budget hearings. And one is that I rarely hear anybody ask for something that we don't think is absolutely would be a benefit to the park and would be wonderful to have. There are so many things that we would like to be able to do. And of course, we are always limited by the amount of resources that we have. And we struggle to try to prioritize and be equitable in how we approach these things. We are struck always by the undying commitment of our volunteers. We have people like May and others who have worked in our parks for decades, and we would be nowhere if we didn't have the kind of dedication that you all exhibit. So we are very, very grateful for that. We are constantly looking for partnerships. We're constantly searching for external resources because we will never be able to do what it is that we have to do, more or less what it is that we want to do, if we are not able to harness external resources and build the kind of partnerships. We remain encouraged, even though this is a budget year, as you heard Mike Kelly say, we lost $32 million. So we started out in the hole, and it was already going to be a difficult budget year because of obligations that we have to pensions and other things like that. But that doesn't mean that we are discouraged, and it doesn't mean that we are not looking forward to trying to meet some of the more pressing needs that you have. So I just want you to know that we hear you. We are attentive to what it is that you're asking for, and we will do all that we can to try to respond to your needs and your wants to the full extent that we can.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Jeff, I don't know if you or Commissioner Munoz or anybody else has any further comments, but for those that are still listening either today or this will be taped on our website, we will follow up with everyone who called. And of course, after 18 years of doing budgets, folks, you know where to find us. Go to our website. You can find my email. It's mike.kelly@chicagoparkdistrict.com. Shoot us a line, and we will work with you because we want all your parks to be the best they can be. And we try to figure out ways of doing it in tough financial times. And unfortunately, parks and libraries and some other departments always find themselves in tough fiscal times. It's just the way it is. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. And Jeff or does anyone else have any final thoughts?
No, I just wanted to thank the speakers. I know it's definitely different than we've done it before. And I appreciate everybody, and thanks to Cantrice and her team for organizing everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And thank you, Cantrice, for this is great. Cantrice, I was going to give you the final word. Hey, Cantrice, you're on mute.
Awesome, right? I'm too busy changing viewpoints. Thank you, everyone, for attending the meeting. The video will be available until such time as we switch it over to our legislative portal, so you can sign back in and view the meeting if you so wish. Thank you to all of our staff, everyone who helped. Have a good night.
You too, Cantrice. Thank you again. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.